hockey friends and families around the world, and welcome to another episode of Our Kids Play Hockey. I'm Elias, joined by Mike Bonelli. Christy Casciano Burns is on assignment today. You know, mental fitness is one of the most popular topics on our show. It is by far the most listened to and the most requested subject by you, the audience. And because of that, we're bringing you two guests today who can help take that conversation from theory to practice and give you actionable steps to bring it to your club or your family. We all know it's important. If you listen to this show, we know you believe in it, but we want to start doing more than just acknowledging it exists. So joining us from Sweden, which is across the ocean if you're in America or North America, are Henrik Cronebäck and Dr. Johan Fallby, the founders of PlayWellMinds, a science-backed mental training platform that helps young athletes build focus, confidence, and emotional balance through short, structured routines. Parents listening, all of you want that. Their work is already being used by schools, clubs, and sports organizations across Europe, and it's quickly becoming a model for what daily mental training could look like for athletes in every sport, including our beloved game of ice hockey. So today we're not talking why mental fitness matters. We're talking about how to actually train it, measure it, and build it into your season like you would skating or shooting on the ice, doing all these clinics that you do. We're going to get into that today. Henrik, Johan, welcome to Our Kids Play Hockey.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
Thank you guys.
glad to be here.
We are glad to have you. I'm going to tell you this right now. Our audience is going to love those accents. I know I have an accent to you, but there's just something about that cadence. It makes you sound great. It makes you sound smart. But let's jump here, guys. Henrik, Johan, you built PlayWellMinds on the idea that mental fitness should be as routine as practice. That's something we talk about. You have to work out the mind. What was the gap that you saw? What triggered this in youth sports that made you realize it was time to do something about it, not just talk about it?
Yeah, I can start. So I have two girls, born 2010, twins. And everything started 3 years ago when they were 12. And I had an idea that, could we teach them, and when I say them, actually the whole team that I was coaching in something called floorball, which is kind of an indoor hockey type of thing that we play here over in Europe. It's a plastic ball and a plastic stick, 5 against 5, goalie and everything. I mean, you might have seen it.
Oh, I've played it.
Oh, you played it? Fantastic.
Great.
Very similar but different than hockey. A lot of people try and play hockey, and it's no, it's a perimeter game, and you really got to know your sport. I will say this though, for all the hockey parents listening, I believe a floorball stick and a floorball are the best trainer for hands, quick hands, over anything. But that is a totally different episode. I will let you get back to your point.
That was a good point. So I had an idea that, can you train mental strength in the same way as you train the technical skills, the physio skills and stuff like that? So I was looking for something for teens and had the idea that it needs to be a little bit fun, a little bit inspirational, and we need to do it over time with repetition, because if we want to learn something, it needs to be over time with repetition. So was out there looking for, different apps, different books, different programs. Didn't really find anything that was suitable, so I decided to read a number of books. Actually, growth mindset, stuff like that, and then sports psychology, and put together my own program for this team. Presentations, living room, gave them pen and paper, and we met once a month over 7 months. And I was thinking, now I have done my thing. Hopefully they have learned something, check in the box, go back to be just a normal coach. What happened then was they said, actually, this was not only fun, but also helped both on the pitch, on the field when they were playing, but also in school. So they said, we want to continue. Can we have this as an ongoing thing, part of our training? And I felt yes, thumbs up, something works here. Do I have the time? No, I don't have the time. Something must exist. So I actually went out and started looking again for solutions. This was summer 23. and didn't find anything. And then I spoke with colleagues across actually the globe, been part of international companies. But everyone said that, Henrik, if you find something, could you let me know? Because my son or my daughter, the team, our class, it would be fantastic if they could use something like this. So after summer 23, I thought, is this maybe something that I should work with? Because I love sports, I love mental strength, and I love to work with young teenagers. But was clever enough to understand that I actually don't know so much about the area. I probably need someone who's an expert. And then I found Johan Fallby, sports psychologist, and we started to discuss this. During winter 23-24, together also with another psychologist, clinic psychologist, Lisa, also from Sweden. And started to explore and work on something. And again, we have the idea from the beginning that to be able to get these target group, which are, a fantastic group of people that want to be sports athletes. How do we make it something that they do every day? How do you make mental strength, mental fitness to be part of the daily habit? That was the key thing. So we worked on a number of different topics and ideas, and it ended up being an app with a program for teens. And we're kind of saying think Duolingo, but for mental strength. How to make it a little bit fun and inspirational and do it a little bit every day, over time. So that's the background.
Yeah, I'm wondering, based off of you're reaching out, Johan, to you, right, as the professional in the industry and working with all these pro players. As I'm hearing, the evolution of the program. It's almost like you want to the pro players, for the most part, right, have already found the tools in a lot of ways to get them where they are, right? So to bring this back down to the youth level and give them the guidance. Can you talk a little bit about the influence of the pro side of the athletes you work with, and how you interjected that into the youth focus on the app and the program?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I've been working for 25 years with pro athletes in mainly in soccer, but in lots of other sports. Ice hockey, obviously, as well. It's a great sport in Sweden, but I think lots of young athletes, young people, they are not encountering psychology in the right way in a young age. It's about problems, it's about illness, it's about not feeling well. But the pro athletes, they also find how to work with the positive side of it, and also they have the tools, as you say, to work with it. They get nervous all the time, even though they have the tools, but they have the right perspective, or they have a perspective that suits them, that they have been practicing on for many years. So the thing is that if we can teach the kids earlier on to have a view on psychology and on themselves, and make them self-aware earlier, then they will have more time to teach themselves and be taught by the networks around them, the grown-ups around them, so that they can handle these tough situations, not only in sport but also in life. So we are just taking the systematic way of looking at psychology, and also the positive sides of psychology, putting it in the right perspective for the kids. So, and what was amazing when I met Henrik is that I've been approached so many times by different people and organizations trying to do this before, and it's been too complicated and too much focus on, you have to do this, you have to learn, you can't get nervous and so on. But we are using the CBT, the cognitive behavioral therapy, as a standing point or ground for this, and that makes it more look like regular training, technical or tactical training, and something that you can do on the pitch or on the ice or in the dressing room. So we are just putting it out in the right perspective and making it interesting and fun for the kids, I think.
Yeah, you said something a little earlier that I think resonates with me and certainly Lee, right, as a hockey coach, and that is approaching this from the perspective of not reactionary, like you're getting ahead of this, training the athletes to be in this mindset that's not like, oh my God, there's a problem. I'm not mentally fit. I'm weak and I'm nervous. But then by that time, you have a lot more building to do, I'm imagining, than to proactively grab an athlete. Just like if I want to have a power skater and a great shooter and somebody with great hockey IQ, I can't go to them after the fact that they have all these other learned behaviors and unteach them those skills. I think is that really the premise of, getting, I know, like Henrik, I know that, based off of my own research, right, and seeing the app, it's really based off that teenage years. When, again, obviously you could start younger and I'm sure it helps with older, but those teenage years are really the sweet spot of when we're working with the most athletes we have. Can you talk a little bit about, how important it is to be proactively looking at this and not presenting it in a negative way, but actually in a very positive way?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, go ahead.
I just have to say it's so fun working as a sports psychologist. Coming towards the end of the season is always very profitable, because then the teams will be calling you. We need help. We have to win the championships. Can you please come now? And they think you have a magic wand or something, but it doesn't work like that, as
Not
you
at
say,
all.
Mike. Because no, you have to work at long term, and then starting at young age, then you will get ahead, I think, and I also think that people will have. They will use this all their life. The methods, the way of thinking, changing perspectives, and the psychological flexibility. I think it's like any other thing. You have to learn it. I mean, you can't start skating. It's the playoffs. Let's start skating now. Let's train some skating. It's impossible. Sorry, Henrik, I interrupted.
No, but you are spot on. I mean, and that's the whole thing. Because the thing is also that mental health, if you say mental health to them, they think it's about problem. I'm feeling nervous. I shouldn't feel nervous and stuff like that. So one of the first things we do when we work with these young adults and teens is, feelings and thoughts will always be there. I mean, that's number one. It doesn't matter if you are me in this podcast, or if you are a 12-year-old or an 8-year-old or a 17-year-old. Feelings and thoughts, you will always have them. What you learn is how to handle them and how to work out, the situation that you have in front of you in the best possible way. That's mental strength. And I think just understanding that piece as a teen is like a relief a little bit. It's like, whoa, so you say that this is kind of normal, because when you get like 12, 13, 14, and the brain starts to develop really to be an adult, and it does that for a number of years ahead, that's when you start to really think that you are the only one having these feelings. I'm the only one nervous in the dressing room. I'm the only one nervous kind of play this game. No, you're not. Everyone has these kind of feelings, and actually they will stay forever. You just you will learn how to handle them, and that's what we try to do in this age. So. And again, we know also that if we can learn them these type of things, or at least introduce them to these type of things in this age, hopefully actually will stay for the rest of their life. The things you learn around 13 to 17, 18 will be things that you actually remember. That's why I started with mental strength for my own twins. I read a book when I was 15 that I got from my father about mental strength that, I remembered. So I wanted to do kind of something for my own kids, for my own team.
Henrik, I love that you're bringing this up because, I actually want to give a shout out to my father. I was very blessed. My father got an early retirement right at that age for me, right? 13, 14. So we spent a lot of time together, a lot of car rides. Now, I got to preface it. I'm in no way perfect or anything like that, but I benefited so much from the conversations he would have with me in the car, at home, because he was going through his own little mental fitness journey at that time, and just sharing with me what he was learning. And, now in my 40s, I look back and I realize, wow, that was, not only was I a sponge at that age, I was really taking it in. And parents, I might not have always looked like I was taking it in. I think that's also an important thing. Sometimes we think the kids aren't listening, but they're retaining more than you probably think they are. They're giving it to other people, not back to you. Exactly. Right. but those years, and it really is such a short amount of time, are so important. And look, parents play a role, coaches play a role, teammates play a role. Johan, you made a great point. I was working with a pro team in England one year, and we had this. I won't tell the whole story, but we had a very dramatic championship. It was amazing. We weren't picked to win, and I remember someone asking us, what did you do before the playoffs to prepare? I go, before the play, we were doing this stuff for preseason. We were doing mental fitness training camps in preseason to prepare for this. And when people start to hear that and realize that, it's real eye opener. I want to say this too, Henrik, going back to the first question. It's funny how the place we're at with mental fitness, I like to use the word mental fitness because I think there's an understanding of that, right? Long time ago, there was a guy named Lloyd Percival, a little hockey history here for everybody. And he wrote the Hockey Training Handbook, right? And when you look at this training handbook today, it's all the physical stuff you need to do for training for hockey. And if you read that now in late 2025, it looks like the most basic, obvious things to do, right? Like you got to work on your skating if you want to be better at hockey, right? But when this book came out, every elite coach around the world was writing him letters. Please send me a copy of your book, because no one had ever done it before. So all these things now, you could really trace that, at least that point, back to Lloyd Percival. Everything we do now, almost 100 years ago, kind of stemmed from someone writing the book of what we deem obvious. I feel like we are so at that point right now with mental fitness, where people go, we need this, but I don't know where to start. So you guys made PlayWellMinds. Like, I would love for you to share with the audience some of those tactics that you use, or just at least a broad overview of, hey, here's the things we're looking at. Because in 100 years, when people listen to this podcast again, they're going to be like, that's PlayWellMinds 100 years ago started this book. I'll throw it back to you guys. Henrik, I'll start with you.
No, but I think kind of spot on, because it's not like we have came up with new techniques or new things. We have taken what exists from an evidence and research perspective. So we know that this kind of works. We just took them and packaged them so that it actually works for this group, for the teenagers, and make it, again, fun, inspirational. So it takes you through a 7-step program, everything from just calm and mindfulness. How do you tell a 14-year-old that, now we're going to talk about breathing and why that's important? And they will just go back and say, I've been breathing since I was born. What are you going to tell me about this that is relevant? And stuff like that. So exercise around that and give some examples from, so for example, when we work with the ice hockey, NHL players or Swedish players, talking about the importance of working with the breathing when you are nervous or depressed or really, angry, whatever it could be. We're on the bench and the referee did something terrible and you are just super angry. Just start with breathing to get calmed down. Then we work with acceptance and situations, which is CBT, where the foundation of this is. So accept doesn't mean that you like it. It means that we don't judge it. We just work with the thought that is coming to you. And by accepting, it actually means that we actually don't pay so much attention and work with it. We can get back to focus and behavior. Then we go into goals. We talk about performance and behavior goals instead of just talking about the outcome result goals. Outcome and results we all know about. It's everything from grades in school to winning a game or whatever it is. But if we focus on the process, the performance in an interesting way, we think, and we actually know that they will probably stay longer in the sports because they're focusing on themselves and what they can do and what they can impact. Then we talk about evaluation. How do we evaluate the game? We are expert on saying to ourselves that we didn't do this, we didn't do this, we didn't do this, and we missed there, and all the things that is negative. Here we help them to understand that that's fine. The negative part or the developing parts is helping you forward, but let's just get some energy on the things that actually work quite well this game. And then we talk about celebration. How do we celebrate? I don't know how it is in your area, but where I come from, if we lose a game, then it's like 20 minutes in the locker room and discussing why we lost the game. If we win the game, then it's like 1 minute, applaud, see you on Tuesday, next game. We need to stop and actually think about, we won the game. What would you do?